dealing with a legal issue you would love to resolve? There is help. Welcome to The Law Show Sacramento, brought to you by TravisBlackLaw.com. Join us to create the best path forward for you. Now, here's your host.
Hello, this is your host, Nick Jaworski, and I am here with Travis Black from Travis Black Law and Associates. And today we're going to be talking with Travis about the best course of action to take if you are in a traffic accident. Now, there are important steps to take at the scene, and we're going to talk about when and if you should see a doctor if you think you are injured. Now, before Travis joins us, just a reminder that if you have questions or require assistance, you can reach Travis at TravisBlackLaw.com. Join us on Facebook at Facebook.com/TravisBlackLawShow. Travis, welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, so now previously we've talked about your experience as a former police officer and then somebody who worked for the insurance companies, and now, of course, as a lawyer. And just real quick, how do you feel that those experiences really help you understand this process of traffic accidents and stuff like that?
Well, I think it's kind of unique in that as a police officer, I was oftentimes the first person on the scene. I would be the first person that would be talking to the people involved in the accident. Oftentimes, I would be the one calling for an ambulance or calling for additional help. As a working in the insurance industry, I saw it from the claims adjuster's position and was able to, well, I was one of the people that would be settling a case. So I understand how insurance companies work. And then as, you know, I've been a lawyer now for over 22 years, and now I put all that together, and it's really an advantage for me, I think.
Yeah, and just real quick for our listeners, why become a lawyer to represent the citizens? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, rather than the insurance companies. What led to that?
Well, I think insurance companies, you have to understand, the number one thing an insurance company is there for, it's not to help you, it's to make money. And if you think about how much your premiums you pay, they make a lot of money, and they want to keep as much of that as possible. And the way they keep it is to pay out as little as possible, or sometimes not pay anything out. And they're not the good hands people. They're not there to help you, and they're not like a good neighbor. They are there to pay you as little as they can. So if you have a case that's worth $10,000 and they can get away with paying you $500, that's what they're going to do.
And so today we're going to be talking about steps you can take to help make sure that you have all the information you need to help get the most from your insurance company, right?
Yes. I think it's very important to understand what happens at an accident scene and involving the injuries and what you need to do to protect yourself.
Well, that's great. And now accidents are stressful, so it's actually really nice to know and sort of think about this ahead of time. Hopefully we're getting this information before we need it. And so I guess the great place to start would be, you know, what advice do you have for somebody who's at the scene of an accident?
Well, the very first thing is, and I've covered it in other talks, is that you need to get to a safe place. But oftentimes at the scene of the accident, you know you're hurt. And it's important at the scene to determine how you feel. Take a minute and ask yourself, am I hurt? And if you are, you need to get help.
Okay, well, so if you are hurt and you're at the scene of the accident, what should you do next?
Well, we all carry cell phones. And the very first phone call you should make is a 911 call. And what that'll do, it does a couple things. One is you've got the police coming, and they can protect the scene and make sure that the cars are safe. Because oftentimes, if you're hurt and your car's smashed and you're in a busy intersection, you're going to get hit again unless you get help. So you got law enforcement coming. The other thing is when you call 911, they're going to ask you if you're hurt, and that's when you can tell them, yes, I'm hurt. I need help, and they're going to send the fire department, paramedics, an ambulance, etc., to check you out. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to go away by an ambulance, but sometimes you allow a professional person at the scene of the accident to decide whether you need more medical care than you're getting there at the scene.
Right. Now, okay, let's say that things have, you didn't get taken to the hospital and you're okay, But what's some of the first things you should do after leaving the scene of an accident?
Well, and that's a great question. Oftentimes, you may feel tight. You may have a headache, neck pain, back pain. Normally, it's a headache. It's headache, neck pain, and back pain. But it's not bad enough you need to be strapped on a board and taken to by ambulance to a hospital.
Right.
But when you get home, that's when you need to start thinking about, I need to go see a doctor. And if it's during the day, call your family doctor and set up an appointment. This is what's critical about insurance claims, is if you're hurt, you have to treat. And if you're not hurt, you don't treat. So if you have pain, you need to go to the doctors. If you're waiting for days and weeks, and I've had people call me a month afterwards and say, I've been in a lot of pain, I just haven't done anything, the insurance company's not going to, they're going to give you a really hard time. So you need to get to the doctor as soon as possible.
And that's if you have any pain. I mean, it might be normal pain, that just like a bruise or whatever, but in case it's not, now you have a record of that.
Right. And that the bruise is interesting and important also. I often tell my clients a picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you have a bruise right after an accident, oftentimes it's going to get a lot worse. And so you need to take care of it. And also, you get home and you're not feeling very good, I can guarantee you that the next day and the following day, you're going to get worse and worse. And that's why you need to make a doctor's appointment and get checked out by a professional.
Now, what if you don't have medical insurance and there's medical treatment needs to happen? What should you do?
Well, if you don't have medical insurance, the next place you need to look is at your automobile insurance policy. Oftentimes, you carry what's called medical payment or med pay, and it's normally $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, all the way up to $25,000 amount. If you have that, then you can go to a doctor and you can say, I have insurance. But if you don't have insurance, that's where you really need the help of an attorney. In my practice, I have every kind of doctor you can think of that we know will take liens, which means if you're hurt, I can get you to a doctor, and that doctor will agree to get paid once the case settles. So if you need a chiropractor, physical therapy, if you need to see a pain specialist, you need to see a surgeon, etc. In my office, we have people that we can set you up with doctors that can do that.
Well, that's great, and that's going to be a real help for people. So if you're sitting in a situation where you've been hurt and don't have insurance, and you know that you need treatment, then the lawyer is a great next step, and that's encouraging for sure. And right. When you see this doctor, what are you going to tell him about what happened? Well,
one of the things, and it's human nature. You don't want to complain. And most clients, in fact, I would say 75 to 80% of my clients disclose their injury.
Yeah.
Their neck hurts, and they'll say, my neck hurts a little bit, when really they can't sleep, they can't move their neck, and it really hurts. So I tell clients to discuss from the top of the head to the bottom of their feet. So you start at the head and say, I have headaches, and this is the type of headaches I have. My neck hurts. It hurts when I move to the right more than the left. My back, etc. And oftentimes, you will forget some of this when you go see the doctor. So it's a good idea after the accident, before you go to the doctor, is to start taking notes as to how your body feels. Because maybe you're at the doctor's office and your low back doesn't hurt while you're sitting there, but when you're at home, when you bend down to tie your shoes, it really hurts. And so you forget to tell the doctor that. So it's a good idea to keep notes and know exactly what you're going to tell the doctor. And don't I don't want to say sell, but don't disclose what your injuries are.
Yeah, there's a sense that you don't want to bother someone with your injuries, even though they're a doctor. I understand that. So what you're saying is, don't be embarrassed that your problem isn't bad enough, that you need to tell somebody.
Yeah, and let me give you a quick example of this. Oftentimes, when you herniate a disc in your spine, it starts off oftentimes as just minor pain. It actually gets worse as time goes on. And so if you don't say anything to a doctor about your neck hurting or your low back hurting, or you just say, well, it's just minor pain, and then 3 weeks later you can't move, insurance companies are going to say, well, something happened in that 3-week period. It obviously wasn't the auto accident because he never made any complaints.
Right.
So that's why it's important to, even the small little complaints, is to tell the doctor about.
Now, this actually is an interesting thought. You're saying to keep notes about the pain you're having, and maybe it'd be a good idea to keep a journal of how you're feeling over time, just for that reason.
Exactly. And it can be a very simple thing, like if you have a large calendar, you can write down how you're feeling. If you have a computer or a smartphone, you can put this in. It's extremely important. The other thing that is important is to start keeping a list of how this accident is affecting you. If you go to work and you sit in front of a computer screen all day, and now you can't, you're constantly getting up and moving around, put that down in the journal. You can't do the dishes. You can't do whatever. And in fact, I always recommend that the client write down 5 words. And it's work, home, social, recreation, and family. And if you write those 5 words down every day and keep a list of how this accident affects you at work, how it affects you at home, how it affects you socially and recreation and with your family, you've got a really good opportunity or ability to sit down with an attorney and explain exactly how this accident has affected them. Because sometimes, if you think about it, if you don't do this, and 6 months later, you're trying to remember how you felt and how it affected you in the first 2 or 3 months, you don't remember.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And real quick, we're almost out of time, but what would you do if the treatment that you're currently receiving, the current medical treatment, what if that's just not helping?
That's an excellent question. That happens a lot. You go to the family doctor and he's giving you pain medication and he's referring out to physical therapy and it's just not helping. If you have an attorney, this is where the attorney can help, because the attorney is listening to this. In my office, we call our clients twice a month, and we discuss, how are you doing? Are you staying the same, getting better, or getting worse? And if you're staying the same or you're getting worse, then it's time for us to start talking about, let's get you to a pain doctor. Let's get you to a physical therapist. Maybe you need to go see a surgeon, get MRIs. Oftentimes your family doctor isn't thinking of that. He only sees you, once every few weeks. So it's extremely important to have an attorney and be discussing with that attorney your condition, because your whole case evolves around your medical treatment and your injuries.
Well, that's great advice. We want to make sure that we continue to try to solve the problems that we have, so that when we're confronted with having to explain what the problem is, we've been proactive, and also we want to just feel better. I mean, that's the key step. Okay, well, I can see that we're out of time, and of course, if you know someone who could benefit from what we have talked about here today, go ahead and share this podcast with them. I'm sure that they'll thank you for it. Of course, you can follow Travis on Twitter at Travis Black Law. That's at Travis Black Law. You can also join him at his website. That's www.travisblacklaw.com. And of course, you can actually send him a message through the website and somebody will get back to you quickly. Also, the phone number is 916-962-2896. 916-962-2896. And lastly, on Facebook, lots of ways to get in touch with him. On Facebook at facebook.com/Travis Black Law Show. Travis, as always, thanks so much.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for listening. To learn more about The Law Show Sacramento and to get access to more great podcasts, visit TravisBlackLaw.com. That's www.TravisBlackLaw.com.